Hey guys, I have got this little lesson to show you about changing chords. Now this is a very, very beginner. This is like you're starting to get some dexterity. You can use your fingers and you can use your picking hand, and you're like, I want to learn some chords, right? You're going to start looking up chord diagrams, which are going to have your fingers numbered 1, 2, 3 and 4, and it's going to have this part of the guitar as a diagram, and it's going to tell you where to put your fingers. So if it's a diagram of A major, it's going to tell you to put finger 1 here, finger 2 here, finger 3 here, all on the 2nd fret, all on these consecutive strings, and to play this string open, which is the A string. Beautiful, right? And you know, that's going to take some work. You're going to have to work on that, getting it all nice and tight, and you know, holding your chord down and bringing it out nice and clean. That's going to take some work. It all takes work, and that's fine. The point to this video is probably the next stage in your progression, which is changing chords. Now you'll note that when I explained, you know, we're looking at this diagram, a lot of beginners fall into this trap of thinking that this numbering regime of 1, 2, 3, 4 on your fingers somehow relates to the way that you form up the chord. And it's a nasty, nasty trap that will slow your changing of chords down dramatically. So this is what this video is about. So when you form up the A chord, you're not forming it up, okay, because that takes too long, and a song won't wait for you to do that. If you want to play along with a song, or you want to learn a song and do the chord changes, you've got to get past that. And that's what this is about. So it's basically a muscle memory thing of learning that, for example, that is what my hand is doing for the A major chord. And it's doing it wherever it is, but if I apply it in the correct part of the guitar, then I'm ready to go. I didn't have to do 1, 2, 3. I just had the shape. Now, another chord is E major. Now, I can shape that. It's essentially like that. Now, I don't ever shape that without my guitar, but when I have my guitar in my hands, I've got this reference point and I can feel where I am. It's like, I know. And what I do is I form up that shape, and all of those fingers hit the guitar at the same time. So if I've come from A and I go to E, what I'm doing is, as soon as I release that A, my fingers are forming up that shape. We're not going 1, 2, 3, because that's going to slow us down. So if you have a look at the mechanics of it, these fingers, there's a very specific changing configuration between A and E, and then between B and D, and between D and C, right? And practicing the changes in those configurations and getting your muscle memory down, G, D, C, G. Okay. I think that's got that point across. Now the other thing that I would suggest is that once you're at this stage, is what you want to do is, now what you can do is this. Let me just say, first of all, you can go through your major chords alphabetically. There's A through G. The musical alphabet goes to G, it starts again. Okay, so A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It starts again at A. That's just how it goes. So you can, if you want to, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And that's kind of what you're working towards. You really want to be able to change those chords, A, B, C, because when you're playing a song, there's not very much time in between yay and yo. You certainly don't have time to be going 1, 2, 3. we go. Okay, so we're going to break that habit and get out of that. So as I was saying, you can certainly work through alphabetically. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Right, and then you're practicing those transitions, but you're practicing a transition from A to B, and from B to C, C to D, D to E, E to F, F to G, which is great. What I would recommend is you put your hand up, and the chord that you start with is 1, and we count 1, 2, 3, and we pay attention to 4 and to the 5, right? So these ones. So which letters we call out when we land on these fingers, and we're going up alphabetically. A, B, C, D, and E. So A, D, and E. Now that's finger 1, finger 4, finger 5. So we're talking about 1, 4, 5. And you will hear that called a 1, 4, 5 progression. It's a 12-bar blues progression. So if we start in A, D, E. So 1, 4, 5 progressions get used in the blues, but they get used in lots and lots of other songs. So when you start grouping your chords together and you want to practice them, do that. I'm going to start with A. Pick any letter, it doesn't matter. A, B, C, D, and E. All right, so I'm going to go A, D, E. Now what that's going to do for you is it's going to lock in that transitional muscle memory between 3 chords that get used a lot in combination with each other, rather than going A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You're not going to get that chord progression in a song, none that I know of, but you will get we can start with G. Now G is the last letter, so we have to go back to the start. So G, A, B, C, and D. So G, C, and D is the 1, 4, 5. So G, C, and D. So 4 downstrokes, right? Because you'll get that in a song. I was kind of strumming loosely to begin with, that'll come. But in terms of changing chords, even just 1 strum. And so initially, it's going to be very slow. Like, make no mistake, playing guitar is really, really complicated. And if you've worked out any of it, right, you're doing so well. So don't look at, and same for me, like I can do that. If you're a beginner, you can't do that yet. I'm looking at guitarists that can do stuff that just blows my mind, and you can very easily get swayed by that and think, oh my goodness, I can't get to that point. Don't worry about it. Just 1 foot in front of the other. Just keep going. Okay, so what do we go? G, D, G, A, B, C, and D. G, C, and D. G, one play. C, and D. And if you have a look, watch the mechanics of my fingers. G, C. The way they all change independently to get to that shape that belongs to that chord. Point that I'm really getting at is that you're not going from here to right. There's a transition, and your fingers just come up, just off the strings, not out here, because you lose reference. There's a very specific movement of each one of these fingers to here, right? And that that movement happens, by the way, just off the strings. There's another rookie error I see all the time is you'll go D and then try and form it up. No, just off the strings. And it's going to be really, really slow to begin with. And by the way, you might initially be doing that 1, 2, 3. Okay, but my point is, don't let that lock itself in as how you change between chords. Don't let it go. Right, get to this point. If you've got the knowledge that that's what you're working towards, this transition between the shapes, just randomly playing through chords there, but I think you get the point. I hope that you do, and I hope that that's helpful. That's all. Enjoy.